This is Barry and Eric again. We're going to do a gun facts tonight. It's going to be basic shooting fundamentals. We're going to discuss trigger control. Now all these factors determine a good group like that. All these factors: trigger control, breathing, sight picture, follow through, good mental attitude. Now generally when your rounds are stringing this way, it's trigger control. You're pushing or pulling. Here is breathing when you're stringing your shots like this. But there again, when your barrel heats up, you can get stringing too, and it can go in any direction. It may go up and down. It may scatter the shots. But your barrel bedding on your gun and all that is very important. We've got a real nice gun here. We're going to show you here in a minute. But breathing, trigger goes this way. Now, we don't have a bench up here, but I'm going to use this. This is a Savage Model 10 in 308 heavy barrel rifle. It's totally free-floating barrel. This stock is not touching that barrel anywhere from here forward. That's very important for accuracy because of your barrel harmonics. Now, if you have a small bag, you can put it under here and pinch it like this to move up and down. But like we were telling you, if you're breathing, this is exaggerated, but this is what's happening. And if your trigger is not right, you're doing this, exaggerated. But this gun has an accurate trigger on it, very, very, very nice trigger pull on it. You keep your finger, you got light going between your finger here. You don't want the finger up against the stock. You hold it like this, pinch it. Now if you had a bag here, you can make fine adjustments with that. That way the gun is not going to move. And you fire, and like Eric says, when the gun goes off, it should surprise you. You should not jerk the trigger. When you pull that trigger, it should be a surprise. But now we've got a bipod on here, which is helpful. But this is a long-range precision rifle. It's not a sniper rifle unless you want to snipe somebody with it. But this is a very fine gun here. Now we're going to go talk about some lasers here in a minute. Now when I do gun classes, I teach the old, this is called the dime drill. Old timers used to take a dime. We're going to take this SIG here. We're going to put a dummy round in it so we can dry fire it safely. Okay? They balance a dime on the front sight like this. Now when you're shooting, you want to imagine that dime is out there and you pull.
The dime should not fall, of course.
The dime should not fall off. Now we're going to try it with a Glock. Chamber empty. Believe it or not, the Glock is harder to do it than that with that double action trigger. Okay. Now when you're on the range shooting, you imagine that dime being out there. Every time I take somebody to the range that's never shot a Glock, they do this. They don't realize they're doing it. So what I do, I take a magazine with 2 live rounds and they empty in there. And they go boom, boom, and when it goes click, they go like that. And they understand what I'm talking about. Trigger control is the most important thing in marksmanship. Trigger control. If you don't control that trigger, it doesn't matter if you have a $2,000 SIG, it's not going to shoot satisfactorily for you. Now we're going to talk about safety. Always wear shooting glasses, hearing protection. Now I'm hard of hearing because I worked at RPB surrounded by machines that were running all day. Now a lot of times it's not loud noises that destroys your hearing, it's I'm machine deaf from hearing those machines. Hearing protection, you need that. Don't waste your ears when you're young. You got trigger discipline, what we were talking about. Muzzle discipline. The barrel of these guns should never point at anything you do not intend to shoot. Range safety. Everybody on the range is a range officer. If you see anything going on a range that you think is inappropriate, you tell the range staff and they will stop it. Do not put yourself or family or friends in danger by letting something go unchecked. Know what's behind your target. This is very important, very important. I've known people who have shot and bullets whiz down through the woods and you hear somebody holler, "Hey!" And when you shoot at water, a bullet will skip like a rock. And that bullet, if you fire up a river, that bullet can go out of sight and it can skip and hit somebody up there. You're really not supposed to shoot at water. Now, Eric and I, we do it from time to time, but we are in a safe environment with a safe backstop. But this is know what's behind your target. You don't want to go through life knowing that you hurt somebody. Now, this is what you're after, a good group. When you combine all this, but all of them go together, you get this. Now, heat dispersion, if you're testing a gun like this for its actual grouping, you fire one round and you let the barrel cool. Fire another round and let the barrel cool. The first shot out of a cold barrel is the most important. Let's say you are a hunter or you are a sniper or whatever. You want that first shot to be there. So you let the barrel cool. This will give you a true idea of what the gun is capable of. If you're stringing your shots, either you're breathing wrong, or your trigger's wrong, or the barrel is heating and it's mashing against the barrel, upsetting the harmonics of the barrel. Now, a wonderful training aid is a laser. Gun is empty. This gun is a Ruger 22 with a Crimson Trace laser. This laser just came out from Crimson. This is something brand new. But when you are training with a laser, you cannot concentrate on the sights and the target. Your eye can't do that. What you do, you look over the gun, and all you're concentrating on is that little pinpoint. So it doesn't matter if you're 25 yards away, 100 yards away. That little pinpoint is all you're looking at. You can bring the gun up and you can look at that dot. You don't have to look at the sights. Now, if your laser doesn't come on, all you have to do is dip your head a half an inch and use your sights. Even if you have a laser, you always want to train and learn how to shoot with these first. This laser is just a wonderful advancement for you. Once you learn how to shoot with this, it's a quantum leap forward when you use the laser. Plus, in dim light, if you can't see your sights, you still see your aiming point. But all of this focusing is in one spot. You're not having to line up the sight here and the sight here with equal amount of light and all this kind of stuff. You're removing the human error when you put a laser on there. Now, this is a quality laser. This laser will stay zeroed it stays zeroed indefinitely. But you have to zero it for your gun, and we're going to show you how to do that in just a minute. It's also an excellent training aid for an instructor. When they pull the trigger, you let them dry fire and they can see what they're doing. They can see if they're doing that or this, up and down like that. But also, I can tell them to aim at the bullseye. Sometimes they're aiming up like this. You can cover, the instructor can cover the beam. And they say, are your sights lined up properly? Yep. Oh, really? You're supposed to be aiming right there. And they can instantly verify what they're doing wrong. Now, when this is sighted in, you sight the gun in and you adjust the laser till the dot is right on top of the front sight and you should be there. If this sights are hitting where you want them to hit, like in that hole right there, when you adjust it down properly, you got it.
All right, I'm going to demonstrate what Barry means here. We got the pistol. You notice that there's equal amounts of light on either side of the front sight post, and the laser sits right on top. That's exactly where you want it to be. So from a standpoint of shooting this thing, you can see that, I mean, you're right on the money. So in terms of trigger control, of course, you know, if you're jerking the trigger, you're doing this number, you're breathing, you're moving up and down, or any combination. You'll see people that do this number where they're moving around quite a bit. But ideal trigger squeeze, you know, it should keep the laser right in that area.
To show you how lasers have progressed, you've got the little Crimson Trace, it's that small. They actually make a rear sight for your Glock and SIG that has a laser built into the sight. Now this was state-of-the-art laser in 1989. This laser was made in January of 1989. It still works. It's all busted up, but look, it still works. But this was state of the art back in those days. State of the art. Now these lasers back then, these were not adjustable. What you had to do, the adjustment was in the mount of the mount that fit on the gun, and if the laser was hitting off the bullseye, you had to take it off and shim it. You had to go through a bushel basket of ammunition to get this thing finally sighted in, but once you did, it would stay there. Now this old laser, in those days, we're talking way back when, this laser was like $1,400. They were very expensive and they were very fragile. Look at this plastic case. The new lasers, they use synthetic rubies in them. That's why you can get them cheap, and plus they've got the adjustments into them. This is dinosaur age here. You can go, to show you about laser, you can go to the gas station and buy a laser pointer for $3. It just doesn't mount on the gun and it doesn't have adjustments in it. But this is the state of the art back in the day.